I just finished watching all 4 seasons of the Star Wars animated series, Star Wars Rebels. Now, if you haven't seen this show, this video will contain heavy spoilers, so if you mind that, do not continue watching this video, but I highly recommend that you watch the series since it is my favorite thing that Disney has done with Star Wars thus far. I watched the Clone Wars in the past and I definitely enjoyed it a lot, but I feel like when it comes to Star Wars, nothing excites me more than new stories, and I think Rebels adds that to the equation and does it beautifully. Now, if you don't know, this show takes place between episodes 3 and 4, and it follows a young boy named Ezra, who is a Force-sensitive child who lives on the planet of Lothal. He lives alone and he fends for himself. Quickly into the show, Ezra meets a group of rebels who are on Lothal doing missions to collect money for fuel and food, and Ezra quickly gets added into the mix of what these rebels are all about after he pulls his typical shenanigans that we see time and time again throughout the show. Now, the crew has a good balance of everything you want in a cast: funny, dumb, exciting, mature, badass, and everything in between. The basic storyline of the show is a group of oddball rebels fight against the newly formed Galactic Empire in any way they can, while their leader, Kanan Jarrus, who is a former Jedi Padawan who survived Execute Order 66, tries to train Ezra in the ways of the Jedi since he's so naturally strong with the Force. Throughout their missions and fights, Kanan and Ezra continue to get strong in both the Force and lightsaber combat, while the crew keeps besting the Imperials even though they are so vastly outnumbered. Most of the battles and events take place on Lothal, which is Ezra's home planet, but in the show, the crew visits a bunch of different planets and even meets some previous Star Wars favorites such as Yoda, Darth Vader, Obi-Wan, Palpatine, Darth Maul, Lando Calrissian, Ahsoka Tano, and more. Watching these new Star Wars Rebels characters interact with some of these legendary and vital characters to the Star Wars franchise is always a treat and some of my favorite parts of the show. But honestly, what I think is the best thing about this show is the character development and bond between Kanan and Ezra as Master and Padawan. Kanan and Ezra almost have that Obi-Wan and Anakin feel, a mature Jedi who thinks clearly and is loyal to the Jedi Code, teaching a very strong child in the Force who is cocky and arrogant. It ties a lot of the beautiful parts that Star Wars always has given us and revamps them into an original story with new characters and new twists, which make it very pleasing. I even really loved a lot of the filler because I think they do a really good job of making you want to know more about these characters and the life they live as rebels in a time without a rebellion. At the end of the day, when you're talking about a good story, you need a good and satisfying ending. And I believe Kanan's sacrifice, Ezra finally letting his parents go and refusing to let Palpatine manipulate him, and his overall sacrifice to the crew was a beautiful way to end the series and a very fitting one as well. Now, that's what I really like about this ending, is that this whole time Ezra has kind of been like an outcast as a Jedi. He's being trained as a Jedi, but he's flirted with the dark side. He's always wanted more power, and he can never let his parents go. And Palpatine tries to use that against him, and he finally gives in being a true Jedi, letting go, and just thinking about the Jedi Code and being clear-minded. And he refuses Palpatine, and he goes in and he does that ultimate sacrifice to let his crew and the rebels get away. And I just think it was a really good toast. I really wish they didn't let Kanan and Ezra both give a sacrifice. I kind of wish maybe Kanan heroically died in a fight to save Ezra or something like that. I feel like the fact that they both sacrificed themselves to save the crew, I think was a little bit repetitive. But overall, I'm very satisfied with the ending and the show as a whole. Now, tell me what you guys think. We did get news that they're going to be doing a new series like Star Wars Rebels very soon, coming in 2020, as well as the final season of the Clone Wars. So we got more Star Wars content on the way, and obviously we're waiting for Lucasfilm to kind of give us the direction of what's going to happen with the Star Wars franchise movie-wise moving forward. So there's a lot of Star Wars stuff coming up. Tell me what you guys think about Rebels and what you're looking for in this new series that they talked about. Thank you guys, and may the Force be with you.